Now that you've gone through a lot of the technical training in Mural, I want to spend this last section talking about best practices. These are going to be best practices about facilitating, bringing participants into your Mural board, and just designing your board for success. The first thing I want to talk about is setting your participants up for success. And there's a lot of different ways you can do this, but this is super important. The reason this is so important is the better that you can set your participants up for success, set the right expectations, get them ready, give them the training that they may need to participate in full in Mural, will then make them better participants. And when you have better participants, you'll have a better workshop outcome. So there's really two main suggestions we have for bringing people into Mural. The first is setting expectations before you even are in your meeting or workshop. So we always recommend sending some type of expectation setting email that just helps participants know, what is this experience going to feel like? What are we going to be getting out of this experience? And what are some things I need to know about Mural or the technology I need in general to participate the best that I can. So down here in the additional resources, we actually have a boilerplate email that we use. Feel free to use any of this language that works for you. And we also have a guide for new Mural users. So this document is rather long and has a lot of information in it. So you may scan through that document and realize I actually only need 2 slides of this. So again, feel free to take whatever will serve your purposes and you can leave the rest. The other thing that we'll do when we send the expectation setting email is also link them to the practice board. There is a practice board in your templates that is a great self-guided board that you can send people who have never been in Mural to start to practice ahead of your workshop. And in the next video, we'll actually walk you through that board. The other suggestion we have is taking the first 15-20 minutes or so to walk participants through just the basics and logistics and tips to help them get ready for the workshop and know how to best participate in Mural. So I'm going to run you through that talk track so that you can develop your own or use this. You'll see these 5 boxes here. These are also in all of our templates. You'll always see that we have the first column is always going to be a kickoff column where we go over logistics, tips, what we're going to do today, what our challenge statement is, and an intro exercise. So I'm going to walk you through this. The way that we bring people into Mural is we always start in some type of call. So whether that's Teams or Zoom or WebEx, we will start the call in that application. We prefer video, of course, just because it adds a little bit extra engagement and you can kind of see how people are responding to what each other is saying. So we'll start the conversation, let's say, and then we will paste the Mural link into the chat and ask folks to meet us into Mural. Before we do that, we just remind everyone, and this should be a reminder because you've already sent them an email with this expectation, that they have to have some other browser than Internet Explorer. We usually push Chrome just because the majority of people have it, but really it's just any browser besides Internet Explorer. The other thing I'll mention before they jump into the board is I'll let them know that you're going to enter as some type of anonymous animal or a visiting animal. When the participants get that notification that they're going to be a visiting avatar, they have the option to type their name with their visiting animal. So let them know if you want them to do that or if you'd like to keep it anonymous. This is really great because it helps participants just know what to expect before they jump into potentially a foreign platform by letting them know, hey, make sure you put it in this browser and you're going to come in as some type of visiting animal. You're just really letting them know that they're doing everything right and just little by little building confidence in working in this new tool. So once they come into Mural, I will just summon everyone, which we'll go over the summon tool in the next video, and have everyone just see my view because you never know where people kind of enter the board from. And then I make sure everyone takes a minute to know which animal they are. So the way people know which animal they are is they'll have their avatar to the left of the facilitator. So if my icon, my face is down here with the star, theirs will be to the left of my face and it will be in the bottom left-hand corner. So you can just ask everyone, make sure you know which animal you are. These are the 2 ways to know who you are. The other thing I will just quickly point out is If you get lost at any time during this workshop, you're not sure if you're in the right place, you're not sure if you're zoomed into the right level, you can always click on the facilitator's icon and just hit follow, and then you'll have the facilitator's view. This is really, really helpful because it really can help people reset themselves, or if they walk out of the room and have to come back, not sure where you are, they don't have to raise their hand. They can just hit the button without anyone knowing and just have the same view as the facilitator. I'll also introduce the summon feature at this time and just let everyone know there's going to be moments where I am going to tell you I'm going to summon you. What that means is I am bringing you to my view just so that we can all make sure we're in the same place and moving along together. The next part, the basics. This is the most important logistic to go over, in my opinion. It's super, super important to me that my participants know how to move around the board. They know how to zoom in and out. And not only do they know how to do it, but they're starting to do that really comfortably and confidently so that moving around from section to section isn't difficult for them. It becomes habitual. So I like to go over the Zoom settings. You may remember this from the Getting Started video in the first column. I just remind them of this Zoom map and bar at the bottom, and then talk to them about the different ways that they can zoom in and out. So with a trackpad, you'll use your 2 fingers to zoom out and then back together. And with a mouse, of course, you'll use your mouse. So what I'll have people do is I'll say, okay, everybody come over here to this orange icon. And what I want you to do is zoom in as close as you can. And then I want you to zoom out as far back so you can see the entire board. And just give everybody a minute or so to do that. And just ask the question, is anyone having any trouble with this? The last 2 are really facilitator choices. It's really up to you and how you like to facilitate. So personally, and my recommendation is to ask people not to use the chat box. If you are all in Mural participating in a collaborative workshop or meeting, it's really important that folks can have all of their attention in one screen and not feel like they're missing out on a conversation in the chat and are feeling like they have to constantly go back between the chat channel and the Mural board. My recommendation is to always assume everyone only has one screen. And so what I tell folks is, you don't need to have your Teams app up anymore. I just need you 100% in the Mural board. And I'm going to ask us not to use the chat at all. And really, if you're having some kind of reaction or question, or you just like something that someone said, go ahead and say it out loud. This will really help us keep a really active conversation and moving us forward. The one thing though that I do want you to use the chat for is if you're having any technical challenges, if you are having a hard time writing a sticky note or moving around, or any issues come up, go ahead and put that in the chat. Now, I typically will only say this when I have a co-facilitator, and then the co-facilitator kind of makes sure that the chat is being reviewed and make sure everyone's moving around okay. If you have a co-facilitator and someone says, hey, I can't do this thing, that's totally okay. Just have the co-facilitator and that person kind of try to talk through the chat or through an individual chat or a call so that it doesn't take away from the bigger meeting. The last thing is cursors off. So again, this is facilitator preference, but when you have a lot of people on the board, you see the different mouses moving around, and it's not just a pointer, but it has the full name and the animal. So it can be rather distracting and very colorful. So what you can ask people to do is to turn off their cursor. Unfortunately, as a facilitator, you don't have a way to turn off their cursor, so you have to ask them to do it. And what you tell people is to click on their avatar. So again, they need to know who they are, and then just unselect broadcast my cursor. And then no one else will be able to see their cursor except for you. So no one else will be able to see their cursor anymore, and it's just less distracting for your participants. Now, if I'm in a smaller workshop, I actually like to see where people are using their cursor. So this is something that doesn't bother me, but I've definitely found that it really can frustrate some participants, and they have a really hard time being focused because there's so many flying cursors around. So I've just moved to the best practice of asking people just to turn it off. So we've got some other materials for you, template boards. We have, again, I mentioned this practice board. The other 2 templates I want to just point out is we have an onboarding template. This is a board that you can actually walk participants through. So sometimes if we know we're going to have a group that maybe is going to struggle a little bit with mural, or you just have some time, you can take a 30-minute meeting with your client. This is, if you can have the 30 minutes, I definitely recommend doing this because it will just make everybody really excited and feel confident going into your workshop, and just go through this onboarding template in that 30 minutes. So it's basically having everybody in a short meeting, and you just go through a series of prompts in a mural board, answer any questions, and again, you'll have your participants kind of excited about working in mural the next day because you walk them through and show them how easy it was to collaborate. And then lastly, this link to the blank meeting template. I just wanted to mention this template because this is a really great one for starting any meeting. It just gives you the kickoff column. So our logistics and tips, our expectation setting and our commitments, our intro exercises, and then it creates a structure for the rest of your exercises. So you can put in any type of exercise or whatever you want in that board, but it just gives you a structure to work from. So I definitely recommend checking that template out anytime you're starting a new mural board. The last best practice suggestion I have for setting participants up for success, and this one is really important, is do a warm-up icebreaker intro exercise of some kind. Even if you guys all know each other, you've been working together for years, do something. Maybe it's just a warm up or something fun. But the reason for this is you want to get them starting to create sticky notes and writing in sticky notes as soon as possible and in a low pressure exercise. So you're much more likely to actually help somebody if you do it early and on something that, is just introducing themselves, versus if you get into a highly strategic exercise that maybe comes after your kickoff, they might be a little bit more hesitant to speak up because they might be embarrassed, or they feel like too much time has gone by and they don't know, so they don't want to ask. And I've had this happen a few times. I've actually had somebody leave a workshop we were doing because they got so frustrated they couldn't figure out how to do it. So by taking that extra 20 minutes and letting people go through some type of exercise that's just light and fun, it will take the pressure off and let people really make sure that they know how to use this tool before you get into the strategic aspects of your workshop.